Recording.
All right, welcome to another episode of Drop Third Strike with myself, Terry Gant in Chicago, Illinois, and my podcast partner and colleague, Beth Davies-Stofka in Denver, Colorado.
Hello.
All right, Legion of Fan, we have the thing you've been waiting for all off season. Baseball is back.
Oh, yeah.
We are now at the end of this. I guess today would mark the end of the first week, which as a fantasy baseball player, the first week is 10 days long. So I'm happy for this week to end. I need it to end. If it ended immediately, I would win my game this week. So I would like it to end immediately because I don't want to take a chance that something go wrong. It's more wrong than what's already happened in this first 10 days of the season. The first week of the season for me is always like a tale of two cities, a best of time and a worst of times. You know what I mean? Like it is hot damn baseball, and you get you choose all these players for your team, and you're thrilled. You believe you're a genius when you pick them up, yep. And then the realities of baseball strike in. It's hard to play baseball when it's 40 degrees. Yep. No one wants to hit. No one wants to pitch. Someone's got to win. It's going to be ugly sometimes. You know, I just saw, so the Cubs game is on here, and Wilson Contreras, in my opinion, just did a textbook slide into second base for how you take out the second baseman on a play. And I'm damn glad I see a catcher pulling that off, right? Oh, yeah. Sliding just outside the bag, making that shortstop coming in, trying to turn that double play, making that dude have to leap into the air, get the hell out of the way of you, right? Disrupt this timing a little bit. I like seeing it. I don't know if he was successful or not. You know, he might have still been out, but like, whatever. Like, I don't even care. I just like seeing someone try it.
Is he a little bit smaller? I've always thought that Wilson Contreras was small for a catcher.
He's a big guy. He's big. Yeah.
It's just that. Well.
Yeah.
I can't see Yadi Molina stealing a base, even if you really wanted to. I just can't see it.
He won't steal a base, but sometimes he will have to run the second and you know, if you're trying to avoid a double play, or if you just know it's coming and want to make a guy work for it, slide to the outside of that bag towards that dude's body and make him have to like make a business decision.
Yeah.
You know, like I like that. Like I don't have any problem with that at all.
Right.
Like don't go in spikes up trying to like, you know, maim a dude or anything. But I have no problem with like, you know, not making it easy for someone to do their defensive job.
All right, and I am going to correct myself on the size comment because Mike Trout is a phenomenal base stealer, and he's not like a little wiry guy.
He's also massive, yes.
Yeah, he's not Billy Hamilton, right? Also, he doesn't live his life crouching, and
yes.
Sometimes I think that those knees are what like get in your way of being particularly lithe or effective as a base runner. You know, you just have to use what you know, and get to the right place at the right time.
Yep.
And like you said, make the guy at second decide how he's going to handle it. Yeah.
So you texted me a few times this week with like things that you just thought were like, hot damn, baseball's back. I am thrilled for this situation kind of stuff.
Yes. I don't remember what any of it is. You know, it's so funny because with baseball, you live in the moment, and there's parts of me, I mean, because I get so excited at the start of every season that I want to like sit around and list all the cool things that happen every day.
Yeah.
I happen to see. And that's, and then you're like watching MLB Tonight and you see all these things that you didn't happen to see. And you're like, damn it, where was I for that one? You know?
Yeah.
But
one thing I think you were excited about, there was a pitcher's duel or something happening the other day, and you were like very much into that game.
I was very much into that game because I was not planning to put on the Dodgers Nats game because I figured I'll use a common. I thought the Dodgers were just going to wipe the floor with the Nats, and I was stunned when I came in the fifth or the sixth inning and it was no score. I was like, wow, how are the Nats, especially a diminished Nats, holding up to these Dodgers who
the diminished Nats.
Diminish those guys. It's like way Nats. And I realized that it was because Joe Ross was just pitching such an amazing game. I mean, it's against Walker Buehler. I mean, I'm like, Walker Buehler's going to pitch. You know, the Nats are going to be the Nats. Who knows who they have for that, you know, fourth or fifth start. I just,
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So it was really stunning to turn that on and see. And I just, it can't help but root for Joe Ross. You know,
and was that the first game that Juan Soto got to play? because this has been my big bugaboo for my annoyed like kind of level. My stress went through the roof with like the Nationals and their COVID-19 situation, because I, in my eternal genius, drafted Kyle Schwarber, Juan Soto, and Victor Robles to my fantasy baseball team. I had the entire starting Nationals outfield, all of whom are now playing for a team that got struck with COVID-19. Kyle Schwarber actually has it.
Yeah.
So he's still not playing. Juan Soto and Victor Robles did get to come and play this week, but Schwarber still hasn't played.
Right.
But immediately, three of my players I was counting on are like, nope, we're not playing.
Well,
Postponing that series.
It was a super disappointing defensive play in right field yesterday, but I don't know that Schwarber would have played it better. I would have liked to have seen.
Oh, I know the play you're talking about too. It was like a ball kind of like drops short, and the left fielder kind of comes in and sort of rolls and sort of bounces and doesn't get the. No, Schwarber would not have made that better.
Yeah, I think it might have been a similar outcome. So
no,
you've got Soto and Robles. You've had them, all along, and Soto hit 2 home runs yesterday. Right. So that's got to be cheering you up as far as your fantasy goes. Robles hasn't been spring training Robles yet, and one is hopeful. Max Scherzer has not been Max Scherzer yet, and I've always been waiting for that year to roll around when he is not himself. But I think he's going to get there, because the man can do anything. He can live on determination, right? He's got like 500 horsepower determination.
Sure.
He's a free agent this year. I'm sure he wants to keep playing. He's gonna come back to Scherzer level, talent. But Joe Ross was just really, I hope that this is what he is going to be all season. I think I told you, our Joe Ross, it's all grown up, and he just didn't seem like he was out there trying to see if he could be a pitcher, which I think is all the Nationals were doing when they played him in past seasons, was like, hey, let's see what this guy can do. Okay, we'll tool these things, we'll send it back down, we'll bring, and it's been this back and forth, but he just he looks like he's to be the pitcher. He's arrived at being the pitcher that he's going to be. And he was, he was shutting out the Dodgers, and that's just fantastic. Let it stay that way, right? So yeah, that was really super exciting. I wish I could even just remember. I should have just made a list for you of all the things that excited me. Not so much a baseball thing, not a player or a play thing, but last weekend I was out for a walk, and because the Phillies and the Braves happened to be playing, I put that game on. Using the app, right? So I can listen to local radio. And I was listening to the Phillies broadcast, and I fell in love with the Phillies radio broadcast. It's almost like I fell in love to the point where the Phillies are playing. I went to go out for a walk and listen to the Phillies broadcast. And I think it said I'm not sure, I might be making this up, but I think they kept saying that I was listening to the Tasty Cakes broadcast.
The Tasty Cakes broadcast. That could actually, I think that's a brand.
It is. It's a brand. And
it's a snack food or something.
Yeah. Oh, like good ads for Tasty Cakes.
It sounds like something. Sounds like something you'd hear like just outside the strip club. You're listening to Tasty Cakes Radio. DJ Tasty Cakes, take it away.
I'm a lot more innocent than that. I'm imagining these cute little cakes with the cute little frosting and
certainly
advertising. But I'm like, man, I'm listening to Tasty Cakes.
They're like Little Debbie's kind of like
Little Debbie, they got
covered cakes.
Tasty Cakes. I loved that. So now I'm like really into the Phillies, and I've also been really excited about the Phillies. And I was excited about your man Juan Segura being such a go-to guy for that team this season.
Who I wasn't able to draft. That was one of the things that happened in my draft. I was like, aha, I'm gonna get Gene Segura. Hot damn, I'm gonna do it again. And then somebody drafted him right before me. I was like, you don't even love this guy.
That's terrible.
Who would do that?
That's terrible. They should just understand that guy's yours.
I think everybody should understand it. This is one draft that I do where like we're not actually talking to each other. So like we're drafting online, but we're not using Discord or anything. Like I only think I know like 2 people in this league personally. Everyone else is somebody I never met. They're all in different cities. And I've been in this league probably for like a good 5 years, it feels like. So
they should know.
They should know.
They should know.
There are some players every year that I have on my team. I think there's other players who are out there. Other people who do fantasy baseball kind of in a similar fashion. Your guy is just still out there. You're going to draft your guy. Like last 3 years, I think I've had Ian Happ.
I'm very excited about the Phillies. I had a sense that the Phillies were going to be exciting, and I didn't want to say anything because I don't like making predictions, but just my gut was telling me these guys are going to be good this year, and they are. And that's
They're
really
good.
exciting. It's exciting to see. It's exciting to see. I might be imagining this because I want it so much, but it was exciting to see the Phillies Braves game. I think 2 days ago, where the Braves had those really unusual uniforms on. There was no red,
Yeah.
blue and white, and there was no tomahawk. I'm like,
Thank
guys,
goodness.
go to that.
Yeah.
I can root for you guys with my heart and soul if you just get rid of that tomahawk. And Ronald Acuna Jr. was like slow start, which means that for a couple of games he wasn't hitting home runs, and now he's just like everywhere doing everything.
Did you see Ozzy Albies get just thrown out at home plate like badly? He got nailed. It was great. JT Realmuto was not letting anybody just give me easy crap. It was awesome.
Segura nailed him.
No, it was the pitcher. I think it was the play was basically to the outfield. Yeah. Outfielder caught the ball. And I don't know if it was Harper in the outfielder, who the hell it was, but they threw the ball back in. And for some reason, Albies was coming around third, but he kind of hesitated coming around third. And by the time he finally decided to go, the pitcher had the ball and just threw home. Oh. And Realmuto caught the ball perfectly, and then just kind of slightly blocked it because now they bitch if you block the plate. So he didn't really block the plate, but he kind of blocked the plate, and then applied the tag, and just when you see a base runner get tagged out in such a way that they just look dejected, like they don't want to go back to the clubhouse, like they don't want to go back to the dugout. Like that's awesome. I love seeing that.
That might have been that might have been Robles in the I think it was the Thursday game, Dodgers Nats. Might have been Robles because it was 1-0. It was definitely
it was a Braves game. Because it was Ozzy Albies who was thrown out.
Was too, but there's been a lot of guys who've been thrown out at the plate so far.
Everybody's trying it.
I'd like to know what's the cumulative total of that so far, because it happened to Robles in the Nats Dodgers game, and
and Robles is pretty fast too. So when it happens to the fast guys, it's like, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think he was necessarily making a bad choice in terms of could he get there. It was it was a questionable choice about whether he should have tried. And
right.
I personally think he should have, because it would have been really, really, really cool to tie the game, and it would have been way cooler to tie it than lose it. So
yeah,
he took a risk, and good on him. One of the obvious big dazzling things that happened, just to get to the big stuff and get it out of the way, of course, is Fernando going down. And,
yeah.
All right. And but that was going to happen, and we knew it. After spring training, we just knew it was only a matter of time, and it's a bummer that it was so early. I wish we could have enjoyed him more, and I love seeing how well he played last night, and I like seeing Manny Machado showing up and trying to bring some of the energy, right? Like showing up in those gold shoes and everything. That was way cool, and I mean they really hit that ball last night, and that was really, really good to see. I don't think I've missed a single one of Akil Badu's appearances on the morning MLB.
Because they're so fun.
They're so fun. Yeah. He's and I think he's for reals. I think he's really going to stay good. In contrast to what we were discussing about Yermin Mercedes, who will probably need some help.
Right.
In a week. Playing at a really great competitive level, but I think Akil Badu is here and is going to be competitive all year long. I really believe that. He is so strong and so fit, and understands how all the different parts of his body work together. He's just got a great sense of his own body, and you can see that. You can just see that. So all the joy, his parents, his teammates, himself, all the joy is just great, but the level of athleticism and the way he's got it all organized and put together is phenomenal. And I just love to see it. I love that. I had no idea he was out there. And now, of course, if he's all anybody talks about all season, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
I did text you about Francisco Lindor. And I do want to tell you what happened. And I refuse to choke up, but you can imagine me choking up and shedding a good few tears over this.
Because you do.
So Harold Reynolds has this kid show called Play Ball, right?
Yeah.
And I'd never seen it before, but I happened to be watching TV yesterday morning instead of working because, freaking Saturday, right? And and I watched play ball, and it was a lot of fun. I like kids shows, and as long as they're not, as long as they're about something I'm interested in, which I am interested in baseball. And there was this segment he did, and maybe it's recurring, where there's a couple of really little kids, like maybe 7, 8 years old or something, and they're interviewing each other, they're learning how to be baseball broadcasters, right?
Okay.
And so it's a split screen. They're in different places. They have these microphones, and the little girl asked the little boy if he could have a superpower, what would it be? And he said, I would make sure that all the homeless people and all the hungry people had something to eat. Which is just such a charming and wonderful.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's the heart of a kid, right? And then they do the same thing with where the little boy gets the chance, but then he asks the question, and they toss it to a bunch of different big leaguers, right? And who knows how many of these they accumulated over time. Maybe they did it over the week. I don't know, but they were all like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And then they had some who said, oh, I would fly. I would fly. I would fly. I would fly. One guy said he'd be invisible. I would fly. I would fly. I would fly. And one guy says, I would have the superpower to do the dishes because I hate doing dishes.
That's fair.
Okay. So sandwiched in all of that is Francisco Lindor, who is asked what superpower he would like to have. And he said the power to heal people.
Yeah. That's what's up.
That's the guy.
Yeah, that's cool.
The guy. And I think if I was going to have a boyfriend this year, it would be Jacob deGrom. I thought about that yesterday as I watched him tagging up from second to third. I'm like, that guy is so cool. But
Jacob deGrom had too good of a day yesterday. Yeah.
Too good of a day. Yeah. But I'm not interested in a boyfriend this year, but yeah.
You say that now because it's only week 1 of the season. It's too soon for you. I know how this works.
I have time to fall in love. Yeah.
No. People got to earn their way in the Beth's heart. She's not just like answering yes to going to the prom on day 1 of prom eligibility. That's not happening. Nuh-uh. No way.
So we'll see. But Lindor is definitely, just like I told you, he's my reason why. Every now and then I watch baseball because I love baseball, and that's all there is, and that's plenty. But every now and then I fall in love with a team. I fall in love with a player. This year something is a little bit different, and it started last year with something being a little bit different, and that's that I've often felt like there was a way, like you almost have to watch baseball with tunnel vision, because if you kind of scratched too much down below the surface, you might not like what you went into, whether that's ownership or weird things that really feel like we talked about, like Trump fundraisers, guys hitting their wives. I mean, there's just like a lot of stuff you'd rather not know.
Just weird shit. Yeah, because it's like each team has there's damn near 30 guys on the team, and there's more than 20. You know what I mean? All from different places with different issues. Some of them are damn lucky to have gotten this far. I mean, lucky to have escaped what they escaped to get this far. Some of them were absolute silver spoon in their mouths babies. And this is why it is you cheer hard like hell when you see Akil Baddoo or Yermin Mercedes, because it's one thing, like Akil Baddoo came up through the minors and is getting his shot, and like he's got his shot now, but he didn't just, it's not like, oh, well, last year he was the best AAA player. It's kind of like, no, last year wasn't a normal year for anybody who was in the minors. And they don't really have a good way to evaluate that because there was no minor league season last year, and you made the team. Right. And you're up kicking ass. And you're in Mercedes. I don't know if that dude was ever higher than double A. I think double A might be as high as he got. Right. And you can see it in like, you can tell watching them play early on where the problems are going to come from. Right. When you watch Yermin Mercedes swing the bat, there is no swing he has displayed so far in his first 10 days of the season that says, I'm trying to hit a single. Not one time has he swung that bat like, okay, I just need to pop this over the first baseman's head into right field, and then I'm good, right? Nope, that is not his shit. What he is doing is he is swinging for the parking lot every single time, because it's like he knows right now there's guys who are hurt. There's dudes who they're keeping down on the farm because of service time issues. And as long as that's happening, I want you to look me in the eye and tell me I got to get back on the bus. I'm gonna make you see. You're gonna be the biggest like jackass in your entire hometown if you send me back. He's swinging for the lake like every damn time, and a lot of times he's hitting the ball. So this is where the downfall is gonna come, though, right? At some point, someone's gonna smarten up and throw the guy junk. And the reason he's not being thrown junk, and I don't know if I was saying this to you, if I was saying it to somebody else, but that the problem is pitchers and their egos.
Yeah.
Guys right now are like, I've heard of this Yerman Mercedes, whatever. Of course, all Mercedes are Yerman, aren't they? Right? And I'm gonna blow this past him, and you just get your doors blown off by this dude's bat because you're trying it. Don't try it. Throw that dude bullshit every single time and make him prove he can hit it. And once somebody gets it into their heads that nope, he ain't embarrassing me, bro. I'm gonna throw junk and junk and junk and junk and junk, and he'll start striking out, right? He'll start grounding out. And when that happens, now here in Chicago, they're about to name a street after this guy, right? Yeah. There's gonna be like 3 or 4 freeway overpasses that are gonna be named after this guy if this dude keeps us up through the All-Star break, That's right. But more than likely he won't. So it's like you gotta cheer like crazy for them now while you can. Right? Because baseball really is 162 games, but it's also like several 2-week seasons.
Yeah.
That's really it. It's several 2-week seasons. There's like guys like in here in Chicago, people are really upset about the Cubs' slow offensive start, right? But then in June, when they go on like a run of like, somehow they win 13 out of 18 games or something, people absolutely forget about what April was like. I feel like that's the way I was to look at it. I have to look at it like this is not a long season. It's a ton of very short seasons, And I think players, this is how they adjust, which is why it is also like when something bad happens for guys that we kind of love, we kind of feel it. I saw this morning, Dexter Fowler has a torn ACL.
Oh, I was like,
no, not Dexter Fowler.
I know, right? I'm totally feeling that. I sprained an ACL in my left knee dancing, and I know how much that hurt. I guess when you tear it, it doesn't hurt anymore because nothing's connected to anything. But
correct, it's not hurting you now. You'll just fall over.
Man, 6 to 9 months of rehab is so intense, and it's just it's like I kind of connect to it on that level, even though all I have was a sprain. I'm like, wow, think of how much worse that could have been if somebody tells you can't dance for like a half a year or 3/4 of a year. That would just be the most horrible news. That would be the most horrible news. So I really feel for Dexter Fowler right now. Have I lost you? There is no vocal from Terry's side of Chicago. So I'll just talk. What am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about how excited everybody is about Shohei Ohtani and what a shame it is that he's already dealing with a blister issue on his pitching hand. And Terry's just like gone. So this is on me. Hello, Legion of Fan. You've got me. And I remain excited about Shohei Ohtani, but I'm actually more excited about the Angels because Mike Trout has a chip on his shoulder this year. And I think that is going to take the Angels somewhere. Don't know if they can beat the Astros, but they might be able to win their way into a wild card slot. So that's them. What else can I talk about? Ooh, I miss Terry. I like the banter and the back and forth. What else do we talk about? The NL Central is way more surprising than I thought it would be. It's way more competitive than I thought it would be. I thought it would be, and like some people were saying, Cardinals, that's it. Nothing else will happen. And I knew that the Brewers were going to bring it. I didn't really quite understand how good the Reds were going to be. So watching them score 1,000 runs in the first week, 10 days of the season has been, excuse me, because I'm snacking. It's been fun. It's been so much fun. And let me see, NL West, sorry, Yeah, NL West. Well, we already touched on that a little bit, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the Rockies, who have put up some good numbers in a few good games, and that's beyond expectations, of course. And so we're loving that. San Diego will hopefully be able to pick it up without their superstar. They only have a superstar now with Machado, but they had a superstar with Tatis. Terry's not back yet. I can't do this by myself. I'm not that interesting. Can I get interesting for you? What could I say that's interesting? I noticed, that the Braves played a game without a tomahawk on their chests, and that day I really rooted for them. I noticed that, oh dear, I noticed that Jazz something, oh gosh, with the Marlins, has the best blue hair I've ever seen, just electric blue, which is my favorite color. And he had a home run yesterday, which was pretty great. If you guys saw that, that was pretty great. He's not built as the kind of guy that's going to hit a lot of home runs, so that was pretty great. I noticed what a great teammate Billy Hamilton is. Really sorry that he's out, and I'm really hoping that doesn't last, because he's the guy that's right at the rail of the dugout, and he's almost hanging over it, and he's watching what every guy on his team does, and he's rooting for them, and he's making sure that when something special happens, he gets hold of that ball, and that the dugout guy has it to give to the player or keep forever. He's a handsome guy, so to see him there at the edge of the dugout, sort of representing the White Sox, is like pretty great. And of course he's struggling to get on base, but he's very fast, and that's always exciting, with the chance to see Billy Hamilton run in record time. So I'm kind of sorry he's out, and I hope he gets back soon. Sorry that Tim Anderson's out, and hope he gets back soon. Sorry that Nando's out, and hope that he gets back whole, even if that's next season. We'd like to have a few good seasons of Nando, and I wish y'all were here. Wish I had somebody here to talk to me about the Marlins, and I wish I had somebody here to talk to me about the Mariners, and to talk about the Blue Jays, who have been really incredible, and it's been fun to see them beating people up, and it's been fun to see them, coming out with wins at the last minute. It's been fun to see, the Twins and people battle the Twins, and it's been great to see Byron Buxton show up and finally be all that. And running out. I'm going to see if Terry's texted me, because maybe we have to call it a day here. I don't know. I'm going to see what he said. He said, oh, he doesn't have internet. Aw. I'll tell him I'm holding on. I think he's hoping he can get it back. Yes. Yes, okay. I'm going to tell him. See, I'm going to record it here, easy voice dictation. I am holding on, comma, and I'm trying to talk through all of this, comma, and this podcast really misses you, period. I am not that interesting on my own, exclamation point. I might wander off into ethics and politics, period. You really need to get here and save me from myself. Haha, period. Okay, so we've told Terry that. But yeah, losing internet, not very promising. You might be stuck with me. We were going to talk a little bit about the All-Star game moving, and I'm so interested in what Terry has to say about that. I can tell you what I have to say about it for what it's worth. The voting, whatever they called it, the voting law that they passed in Georgia, let's call it an update to existing legislation. Let's just call it that. It struck me as being vindictive and cruel. If you legitimately, truly have issues with your mail-in balloting and how that gets counted, then absolutely fix that. I'm in Colorado, and we have a fantastic system. It's never been a problem. It works great. Everybody loves it. We all take advantage of it, and it returns correct results without hitches, without glitches, without anybody having to complain. Secretary of State, very satisfied with the whole process, and it's been that way forever. If things aren't going smoothly in Georgia, smooth them out. Don't know if you have to do that with legislation, but yes, smooth them out. Telling people that they can't serve drinks to people waiting in line should be a hint to you that there's some other agenda here, and it should probably be a red flag that there's some sort of agenda there. And I, for one, got upset. I got really upset. I got really, really upset. This is the kind of thing that makes me angry, because to me, voting is sacred. The right to vote is sacred. It's something that people all over the world, die for every day. All over the world, somebody could say, dudes, we should have a right to vote, and just get guns turned on them and get killed. This is what happens. And the fact that we don't, killings in the US are isolated, and they're wrong. And they are part of a pattern, an organized pattern, but you don't have, let's just say tanks don't roll over us, and people don't open fire on us. We have to outwit those who would kill us, but we do. And white people don't really have to outwit anybody, but Black people do. And they have to be stronger, and they have to work harder, and they need a Stacey Abrams. We need thousands of Stacey Abrams, if only. And they have to work nonstop and tirelessly to make sure that the right to vote is exercised and that it is not constrained. So to have just to see all white men in suits, and sort of graying hair, triumphantly sign this legislation that would punish people for helping other people to stay comfortable while they wait in line to vote, while enacting at the same time legislation that will make those lines longer, with a shorter time frame. It's brutal. It's really brutal. And something had to be done. There had to be some kind of response from sports, because sports is very loud in American culture. It has a vast platform, a vast voice. Something had to be done. And a friend had texted me and asked me about it. She said, do you think they're going to move the game? And I had seen Carl Ravitch on Sunday Night Baseball, or the run-up to Sunday Night Baseball. I don't remember when it was. When it was. Carl Ravitch interview Rob Manfred, who had said, we're listening to lots of people, blah, blah, blah. And I thought it was the normal blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're going to drag this out and, try to make everybody happy and etc. And yeah, it was the next day after the interview with Ravi that my girlfriend texted me and said, what's going to happen here? Are they going to move the All-Star game? And I just texted back and said, if they don't, then I hope the players boycott. We have to speak up about this, and we can't spin it, and we can't pretend it's not happening, and it can't happen. Depriving people of their vote can't happen in the United States of America. And I think that the players are empowered enough now to say, no, we're not showing up. So I was stunned when I went to the dance studio, and 2 hours later I came out and I had a text from the same girlfriend saying, hey, they're moving it, yay. I was like, what? They decided that fast. I think it was less than 48 hours since Ravi had interviewed Rob Manfred. They made the right decision, and they made it quickly. And all the debriefing afterwards, this, that, and the other, and all these factors. Of course, there's a lot of factors, but they made the right decision, and they made it quickly. It was a reaction that I wanted. I wish that Terry were here to tell me the reaction that he wanted and how he's feeling about it right now. But, and he's almost back. And so we're going to find out pretty soon, because he's almost back. I hope it's been worthwhile listening to me talk about it. I'll add something since we're still waiting on him, which is I'd heard, I think on the Ringer podcast, which is the Monday or Tuesday edition, couple of guys, one of them a poll worker. Oh darn it, what was I going to say? Have made kind of well, I shouldn't say it was those guys. Not fair. Somebody said it. Made a kind of a comment that 2020, that's okay, but that was just a lot of talk, and you have to take action. Actions speak louder than words. First of all, I'm not sure that's true, but let's not debate that point. I was kind of surprised to hear the idea that 2020 was just talk, and then it wasn't anything. Hi. Oh my
And
God.
I'm back, and my video's back somehow.
You're back.
I lost internet, but I gained video.
And I have no doubt that our Legion of Fan is like so relieved, because I have literally been talking this whole time.
Were you? Did you go into like social theory or like
yeah. I was just in fact wrapping up on my final observation on social theory, on ethics, on ethics in baseball, and all specific to the All-Star game. I think I made my initial pass at ethics in baseball with Francisco Lindor's genuine, heartfelt desire to heal people, which is literally the most beautiful thing I've ever heard anybody anywhere in baseball say. That is it. And Francisco Lindor is my reason.
I can't think of anything better. For some reason, I know if I had time, I could think of something more comparable. But I'm instead only reminded of the time Barry Zito did an interview on baseball MLB Tonight, in which he revealed he still collected stuffed animals.
Aww.
To Harold Reynolds, and I forget who the co-host was. But when they came out of the spotlight on Zito and his stuffed animal collection, Harold Reynolds was under the desk, and he raised his hands over the desk, and he kind of had these Muppets or something that he was playing with, and he was just like, Barry, why did you tell us that? Like, you, oh my God, why did you like you were obviously a good dude. You might be too good a dude for baseball, right? Like. Stuffed animals, you're still into it.
That is lovely. Well, when they say that baseball doesn't do enough to market to female fans, I mean, Barry Zito just did it, right?
Ain't that the truth? Barry Zito, ace pitcher with stuffies.
Yeah, with stuffies. Oh, I love it. Okay, so Barry Zito. Okay, so yeah, that is just one step further for Lindor then to talk about people. Yeah, Lindor's the man. Lindor's the man, and obviously DeGrom's the man for all the reasons that we can imagine. Just the greatest pitcher alive, the greatest pitcher pitching, and had that team.
The thing about DeGrom that like, it's one of these situations where like for the last couple of years has been DeGrom's problem is he's an ace pitcher pitching for a team that at times has trouble scoring runs.
Yeah.
Like this year they're built to score runs. They just didn't yesterday. Yes. And that dude threw lights out baseball, like a legendary game he threw, and they lost like 2-0, right? It's not even that the Mets wouldn't score runs particularly, but it was also, I think they were playing the Marlins, right?
Yeah, they were playing the Marlins.
And the Marlins, the pitcher for the Marlins, this kid was also kicking ass as a pitcher.
Exactly.
Right? Like all DeGrom did was he gave up an early home run. That was on DeGrom. He gave up one early home run. Then he struck out like 14 people, right? Like just mowed them down.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And because the second run wasn't even off of DeGrom. That was on somebody else. DeGrom was out of the game when that happened. Right. Yeah. So, man, if you can go out there and throw your best game, and it's not like the best game, it's just a game for you. It's a routine game for you. And you still end up losing 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, something. It's like, it's for any of us, it would drive us apeshit. Right. Yeah. But for Jacob DeGrom, he looked like he was still having fun out there.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, well, you guys got to score runs. I only gave up one. That's all I'm giving up. I'm giving them one. Okay. All you have to do is get 2, maybe 3 runs today. I've only given up one. That's all I'm giving up.
Yeah.
Like he can call it. He can go out there and say, today I'm giving up 1 run. You guys score 6 if you want to. I don't care. I'm giving up 1.
Yeah.
That's what, and I'm just going to play the game. I'm just going to play baseball.
Yeah.
The rest of the time. And some pitchers are that good.
They're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah. Because
the fans are upset.
And so you while I was dealing with my internet situation here, did you decide to speak upon the All-Star Game shenanigans?
Yeah, I did. Well, first of all, I talked about Ohtani, and then I talked about Mike Trout, and then I talked about how competitive the NL Central is and all those runs that the Reds that I didn't speak
the Reds.
And
damn it.
Reds. And I said that I really wished I had somebody here to talk to me about the Mariners. And
eternally frustrating, my Mariners.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But come on. And then, I know that you have a special center fielder that you would like to speak about.
Yeah, so Cedric, okay, so and this isn't gonna work out, right? Because Cedric Mullins has become my new favorite, like rookie player or whatever, or new young player. Only because he's also in Baltimore. Like, we were writing Baltimore off as going to be the basement of that division, right? And they just might still be the basement of that division, but they're exciting to watch, right? Because the same way the Rays last year were like, oh, look at these guys, man. Nobody knows who these dudes are. They're just beating people, right? The Orioles are now, the young talent on the Orioles is showing up to be good enough that they're also like unexpectedly beating the billionaire teams, right? And somebody picked, I had made some roster moves this week on my team, and I thought I had one more move to make, and I was going to pick up Cedric Mullins, like as a backup outfielder, given all the COVID issues on my team. And then I all I need to have happen was to make it to tomorrow morning with no one picking up Cedric Mullins, but someone actually did this morning. So I have to wait until someone drops him. A lot of times, when you got a guy out there who's a free agent in fantasy baseball and you want to pick up your guy and somebody else snags him off the waiver wire or off the free agent list or whatever, if you wait a couple of weeks and that dude's just kind of playing okay, like then the guy who picks up your guy will suddenly like drop your guy and you can pick him up again.
Okay.
So I'm not that broken up about it, because instead, tomorrow morning, I'm just going to pick up Nick Senzel, who is like playing lights out when he's done this before, because again, the baseball season is several 2-week seasons, right? But his hot 2 weeks have begun now, right?
Okay.
So he's still available. So tomorrow morning, I'm letting somebody go and grabbing Nick Senzel, and I won't feel so bad about not having Cedric Mullins. And I do have Akil Badu. I've been watching the young hot players who make me really love baseball again, and I'm picking them up when I can. And I've had plenty of room to do it because I had a lot of I'm not even going to call them underachievers, like just very disappointing play out of some of my guys here. To the point where it's not key guys who you really need, because I'm not dropping those guys, but like back of the rotation dudes, or like on the bench guys that I can afford to drop to pick up some good guys who might stick around all year long. Mm-hmm. It makes you feel like you're less of a genius at the draft when you have to drop like 6 guys in the first week. 6 rounds you guess wrong on.
Is Trey Mancini available?
I don't think Trey Mancini is available. I think he actually got drafted. I think somebody actually did draft Trey Mancini. That's that's the feel good player for the Orioles.
Oh, yeah.
Sat out last year, like cancer survivor. Yeah, like
he had stage 3 cancer, which is stunning.
Yep.
And I loved that. It's one of the greatest quotes of baseball I've ever heard, and maybe it's been said before. When he comes to the plate, everybody's giving him a standing O, and he tips his cap, and the announcer says, "If you don't feel something right now, you're not human."
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's true. And he hit this home run yesterday, and I'm watching him go around the bases, and I'm thinking about something that I'd heard Carl Ravitch say once upon a time, and it was about a pitcher, and I can't believe I've forgotten his name. Was it Clay Buchholz? I don't know. It was somebody who had come back from lymphoma.
Okay.
Holy shit, right? I mean, lymphoma. I mean, how are you not dead? And I mean, I know there's different kinds of lymphoma, but the fight is just, the chemo is destructive, right?
Right.
And he comes back and he pitches, and it's just the most extraordinary event. And Carl Ravitch is reflecting on it on Baseball Tonight. And let's say it was Clay Buchholz, even though I can't remember. And he says Clay Buchholz, ex-cancer survivor. And, I wasn't too far out myself from cancer when that happened. And when I was kind of stunned by that concept of the ex-cancer survivor, because you kind of get pegged into this place, like you're a person with cancer or you are a cancer survivor.
Yes.
And you have to live the whole rest of your life as a cancer survivor, and the medical personnel, any medical person you meet is just like, that's the first thing they think, oh, you must have cancer. I mean, it hurt my back, and my chiropractor's like, you have to get x-rayed, you probably have colon cancer. It's like, oh, back hurts, right? I'm not sitting up straight. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Right where they go. And
I'm pretty sure it's not a tumor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not. And and you can't, but you can't even talk to anybody because they have to take an X-ray. I mean, they
Yeah.
literally never leave you alone. And that thought that you could be an ex-cancer
Yeah.
survivor was so exciting to me. And I'm like, and now I'm like almost 20 years out. So
Why do I think that this happened to like a Dravecki?
it might have. I mean, there's a bunch of
Dave
guys that
Dravecki, I think,
have cancer. Yeah,
had cancer and came back and played.
yeah.
And but I'm also who was the pitcher? Was it
Jon Lester had cancer.
Jon Lester had cancer? And I'm also thinking of a pitcher who had one hand.
Oh wow, yeah.
Who I remember playing for the Angels, I think, for a while. Which is the part about the Ohtani thing that kind of like bothers me in a way, because I need Ohtani to concentrate on, like, right now he's doing both things very well, right?
Uh-huh.
But I need that dude to do the one thing even better and not do the other thing, honestly, because I don't think it's going to work out. Like right now it's working out and everybody's excited. I'm worried this dude's doing actual damage to his body, right?
Well, he has a blister already.
And we start with blisters.
Yeah. And the thing is, it seems apparent that the Angels cannot go deep in the postseason without Ohtani on the mound.
Right. Because they couldn't figure out how to go out and throw another $20 million at some other pitcher.
Right,
yes.
Right.
If only there were pitchers available for you to pay to come and do this job, so that your one of your star outfielders doesn't have to also do this job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a shame, because that's I mean, if we were going to ask Ohtani to go one way or the other, and we want Mike Trout to win a World Series, and Mike Trout obviously has decided that he too wants to win a World Series, has been voting about it, right? So we need Ohtani to pitch and stop hitting. So why is it the one place where he starts getting hurt is that blister? Because come on, we know what happens with blisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently what people don't do with blisters is go over and put crazy glue on them and send them right the hell back out to the play like we used to do. Damn it. What's the problem here?
I know, right?
Come on. This is bullshit.
It does have its place.
There's a reason to me that there really is a reason why you don't see guys like playing first base and filling out the lineup card.
Yeah.
Right? You don't see guys like who are gonna they catch in the game and then they decide in the fifth inning they're gonna go out and play shortstop so that they can also be defensively effective there. Like you don't see these things because everything in the sport's now specialized to maximize your actual effectiveness at one thing, at one place. You know everything you can about that one place, right? And there's rest factored in, so you can do that thing on the days we really need you to do it. If you are an ace pitcher who also has to carry the weight of being the team's second best hitter, in this case, I'm going to say possibly third best because now Anthony Rendon's on the team, right? So I'm going to say their best hitters are going to be Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon, but then Ohtani has got to be the third best hitter on the damn team.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone else hits like a typical second baseman or a third or a shortstop would hit. You know, they hit like a left fielder would hit who's not a monster. You know, like there's problems on that team. The best thing they got going for them is an incredibly supportive manager, and Albert Pujols is not retiring. You know, like so there's all this emotional support for the Angels, right? But it seems like someone's not being an adult here.
Yeah.
And saying to this guy, look, man, I know if you're just going to be an outfielder or if you're just going to be a pitcher, we technically overpaid you, but that's a sunk cost now. We can't do anything about that.
Right.
We can't do anything about that. That's just how it's got to be.
Right.
We need you to do one of these two things, and then we're going to spend even more money to make up for the mistake we made by making sure that no one else had the headache that we now have.
Right.
That's what they really did, right? They spent millions of dollars to make sure this was their headache to have, and then finished last. Damn it!
So this actually raises the specter of money, which is definitely one of my favorite topics. Money talks, and money guides and drives decisions, right?
Yeah.
And my feeling about the Angels is that even though we don't like this, lost your camera, but we still have you, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Cool. That one of the things that it's an unfortunate calculation.
Got it back.
You're back. Hi.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but having Ohtani play two-way is probably a way to sell more tickets, or so they think. And so,
yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Like he absolutely was a national freaking attraction.
yeah,
Come see the guy who is going to play outfield as a starter
yeah,
and contribute, and also pitch and
right,
contribute.
right. But
You know,
there's also, like, if I were in charge of risk assessment in this particular case, what I would want to do is run models on how many tickets, what kind of ticket sales, gross revenue we can get from having Ohtani be a two-way player versus the gross revenue we could get from being a first place team is going into the postseason.
even if that, even, I bet someone has that job, and I want to fire the guy because the only assessment you really need on ticket sales is you have Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Sell Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Right? You're selling that guy. You're selling Superman already. Right? You don't tell me that now Green Lantern joined from Japan, right? Like, we don't even know that, right? We have Mike Trout here. We have Superman.
Yeah, we do.
We have the best player in the damn league, right? Yeah, in fact, the state of California now has possibly the 3 best players in the league.
Right.
You know, if I were like the state of California, I'd be running ads to like get people to do nothing but tour California baseball stadiums for the miracle of being able to see Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Manny Machado.
Right.
Over a 4-day span.
Right.
Get in the car and drive, right? Like that's what you have there.
Yeah.
You know, and even pitching wise, every one of these teams has something stellar for pitching, except the stellar pitching thing for the Angels is freaking Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
No, there's a reason why teams don't have like center fielders who become closers late in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry, Skipper. I got this. You know, let me just come on. You're gonna lose my defense, but don't worry, I'm gonna strike out the side in the ninth.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, maybe you don't need to fire the guys so much as you need to fire the modelers, the ones who are doing the modeling. I don't know, but
maybe we got to fire the modelers.
Yeah. maybe they're running the wrong models and they're not seeing the data as it should be. Because there's the real time. Well, we have Ohtani two-way player, and here's the tickets people are buying now.
Yeah.
You know? But there is a risk if you say, well, he's just going to be a pitcher, and we are going to, project ahead that we are going to get this revenue from being in the postseason. Maybe you don't make it. Okay, now you haven't made as much money. It's a tricky situation. And if the pressure is on you as the risk manager and that person's team to make that money back for the owner now, that might be what you're supplying.
The only way I can imagine, if you had to be like, we got to get that money back, then you literally have to like, not only does that dude have to pitch and hit, but he might have to work the parking lot, right? Like you might need to have fans see him as they drive into the stadium.
Idea.
That dude may have to also direct traffic.
Yeah, for like $500, Shohei Ohtani will valet park your car.
He will show up to your kids' parties. Listen, you said you wanted to do these 2 jobs. Well, here in America, doing 2 jobs ain't enough, bro. The state of California has a problem with labor, right? You got to do 5 jobs, homie. That's what it's going to be like. It's just going to be that. Like, because you're not going to get the money back if every 5th day the dude goes out there to be a pitcher and, and pitches like Shohei Ohtani pitches. He's got to pitch. He's got to be like great as he was the other day. He's got to be that way all the time. And we know that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And not only does he slow down at some point, but he gets injured.
Right.
He just had surgery. Like this isn't like now you're going to lose him as a pitcher and a hitter if that happens.
Right.
And I am all for like players doing amazing shit you just didn't think they could do. So I'm in favor of guys like Javier Baez making wacky defensive plays that are just like playground shit, right?
Yeah,
I'm in favor of guys like Juan Soto doing that weird crouchy like intimidation thing that he does. It's just extra and silly, right?
Yeah.
I'm in favor of like players who have to have these superstitions, and I don't care about any of that. What I just don't understand is the idea that for this particular sport, it's actually going to pan out that we let you be quirky and idiosyncratic in a way that it's going to just hurt it. Well, you know it won't. Like, I don't buy it. It's why, like, when Deion Sanders was playing baseball and football, right? But like he would have to leave one season to go participate in the other season, right? It was like, well, this is never going to actually work for you, right? You know the dude's a great athlete, yes, but you kind of need him there full time to be the great athlete, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You do all the time. Yeah.
That can't be a thing. But like we all just we marveled at seeing it, but what did we really see?
Yep.
We didn't see success.
Yep. I think I'll just, because I'm probably going to speak about Lindor every chance I get from here on out. But I think that this is like, he's like a really good example of this, right? Because everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
And they always talk about that $1 million smile, which really is $1 million smile, but the man's a highlight reel.
Yes.
And that is why, and that's what you need if you're going to spend that kind of money on a player. You need that person to be on a highlight every day. You need to be able to say, look at what this guy did today. Look at what this guy did today. And maybe you get a day off here or there, but you need to be able to showcase this guy every day, as many days as possible, so that you can sell the tickets.
Right.
People need to know that this, all you get from the highlight reels for the most part is that name Lindor equals wow, fucking amazing, effective. Yep. That's all you need to know.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go to the game. I'm going to see that guy play. I know his name. It's stuck in my head. I'm going to go see that guy play.
Right.
That's all you need. So if they're not playing, you got a problem. And if they're not playing well and they are your highest paid player or your second highest paid player, you got a problem.
It's true.
Yep.
So you guys, Colorado, you're coming up on this All-Star game. You lucked out. You got the All-Star. You won the All-Star sweepstakes.
We won the sweepstakes. It's so funny. I seem to have like some kind of sixth sense right now, and I don't know how to make money off of it, because it's like I had this sixth sense that the Phillies were going to be a force, and they are. I don't know how long it's going to last, but they are. They're a good team. I had this sixth sense, like the day that Manfred said, we're moving the All-Star game, we don't know where, I thought they're going to move it to Denver. Duh, they moved it to Denver. So yeah, how did I know that? I don't know how I knew that. So I got a sixth sense, and I got to figure out how to make money off it.
If the only hint we could have possibly had is that apparently the state of Colorado sends everyone mail-in ballots, and 99% of your damn state votes by mail-in.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time, yeah. All the time, with no controversy about it. The Secretary of State, who I believe is Republican, says, yeah, that's cool. It works great. It always has.
We have voters. Look at the voters voting. What's the problem?
What's the problem? Now, what I didn't know is that our esteemed organization, the Colorado Rockies, wanted an all-star game so bad that they had already put in several bids, which means they'd done a lot of work to prepare the ground. And I didn't know that. And so for some reason, I thought it would come here. Apparently that's why. There were some really, really good reasons given for moving it to Milwaukee. But I kept thinking, okay, so you're going to take it out of Atlanta because of these voter restrictions, but you're going to move it to Milwaukee, where we're going to talk about Jacob Blake all day long. I don't know.
Or like just a state that has been just in the crapper for like anti-union practices.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's some things where you just got to be like, well, what do you want? What do you want to be the story? I'm not sure you want this to be the story. This is gonna come up.
Yeah. And Colorado usually gives you, we're so white and we're so bland and we're so, blue. At least, this huge area like this, most of the population lives in the Denver, Fort Collins, Boulder, kind of Colorado Springs area, like most of the population. So you have like this area that's 70% blue, and then the stuff that's either like, mountain villages or, out on the plains, like little, like literally cow towns where cattle is the industry. They're all red, right? But it's like the percentages are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody nationally knows the names of our young people who have been young Black men who have been murdered by the police. I don't think anybody knows their names. I don't think it's been controversial outside of Denver. So maybe I don't.
Colorado's more famous for like mass shootings and things.
Mass shootings. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
really good at those.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I guess Colorado was like the home of the lone wolf. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We don't have Ted Kaczynski or the Olympics bomber or anything weird
Right.
like
Right. Right.
that. But yeah, these random acts of violence are really, really, really a problem. And I wonder if they'll try to mitigate that. I'm sure they will, for the All-Star game. But the one thing I really wanted to ask you about, I just noticed this in a political cartoon yesterday. Somebody had said that this was a gross injustice, because Atlanta is 50% Black, Denver is 80% white, and then $100 million is therefore going to go into white pockets and not Black pockets.
I don't think any Black people give a shit about that. We always talk about baseball has a problem, like getting Black viewers to begin with. Like, wait, where? Like, what's the actual issue here exactly? Like, I'm not even sure Black people even knew the All-Star game was ever there. Yeah. And believe me, it was Black people who made damn sure that Georgia went blue, right? Yeah. If the Black people give a shit about the voting issue, they don't care about the All-Star game.
Okay.
Right? You know what I mean? The All-Star game can move. Fine, let that thing move. In fact, Black people would probably rather see all kinds of things threaten to leave, like Georgia, if they keep messing around like they're messing around. Right. You know? Right. Because in the end, what we're talking about is a human rights issue, right? For Black people aren't going to say, "Oh man, hold on, you're going to deprive us of this game." Nah, we've already been through that.
Yeah.
Right. We've been through the things where, like, you're doing an economic boycott of a particular area or metro kind of like zone, and people go, yeah, but don't your sisters, brothers, and cousins work in that zone? Okay, it might be true that some people that we know won't make extra money there, right? But the All-Star game is effectively a 3-day event.
Uh-huh.
You know, like the jobs are still there. If you're telling me you're going to lay off all the Black people who work Braves games because you can't have the All-Star game, different issue.
Yeah.
Right now we're gonna fight about that then, because but like, don't tell us that we shouldn't move the game because it's gonna be like a bunch of more white people who make this money instead of Black people. If you tell me that the industries that support Major League Baseball in some of these cities are Black industries, different issue. Okay. Right? But I don't believe they are. I think they're still white industry, majority white industries. Right?
Well, here it's going to be microbreweries, sports bars, the hotels, the convention centers. The whole. I mean, there's all that spillover effect. That $100 million. For all the small business owners who are just dying. Yeah. And but I know the neighborhood, and I know what we're talking about, and I mean. We are 80% white, apparently. That's what
this is literally the argument that Atlanta's Black population is going to miss out on this money, and Denver's white population is going to get this money, is the equivalent of Donald Trump telling Black people, "You should vote for me. What have you got to lose?" You know what I mean? Like that, because he said that. Like that's what we're talking about. If you make that argument, what you're basically saying is you should support this thing we're trying to do here because we're your best chance at you making money, $100 million over 3 days, industry-wide, when we know that the industries who are likely to be making that money aren't necessarily the kind of industries that have been very good at letting Black people in to begin with.
There you go. Okay, yeah.
Like if Atlanta, I have to believe, as Black as Atlanta is, there have got to be Black-owned hotels. Yes, I got to believe that's the case. Black restaurants, Black tourism. I believe, yes, that's a thing, right? But I also know there's a reason why those people went and voted and stood in those lines and fought the way they fought, from Stacey Abrams running for office through last fall.
Yeah.
Right? They don't give this All-Star game that's fine. Yeah. To drop in the bucket based on the shit they've been through.
Do you think it gives them a good feeling to see baseball sort of standing up for them in a sense?
I think the question they would have to ask is, why aren't more people joining it? Like, where are the big name industries joining it? Like, part of my brain said, why doesn't Coca-Cola threaten to leave, right? Like, why doesn't Coca-Cola say, we're not doing any business in Georgia when Coca-Cola is Atlanta, right? Yeah. It's that sort of thing that you really need.
Yeah.
When Hollywood's like, we won't make any movies in Atlanta. Well, Hollywood wouldn't make any movies over the last year any damn way, right? Like, ain't nobody going to see movies, bro. Like, what are we really missing here?
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be industries that make it hurt.
Yeah.
For your government to be fucking up like they're fucking up, right?
Okay.
It's got to be that. It's got to be Coca-Cola saying, you know what, man, business looks good in Chicago. Yeah, you know what? I think, why don't we just do what? Maybe we'll do that. You know, it's that kind of thing. Right now, like Rob Manfred was just like, nope, no All-Star game. The players didn't discuss it.
Right.
Right? That was a unilateral decision done by that dude.
Yeah.
Right? So what other industries are willing to take that step? Right? I mean, during a pandemic when there's a whole lot of industries more or less on hold, it's hard to have that happen with any teeth. It's got to be something that's already in Georgia, right? That's sort of like that holds power, saying we will leave if you keep this nonsense up. It's time, right?
Yeah.
It can't be outsiders saying we won't come when already outsiders aren't able to come.
Right. Right.
You know,
right.
I don't. Yeah.
Right. So so all the public shaming of Major League Baseball and its decisions over the All-Star game, even when couched in "you're hurting black people" kind of language, it's all bullshit, right?
Yeah, like you're hurting black people. No, you're not. The governor's hurting black people.
Yeah. That's the way I saw it. I hadn't wound my way around to that yet because when you were down and I was like, oh my God, well, I wish I knew how to edit this out because I was people. Poor Legion of Fan has to listen to me all this time.
We just saw the governor, we just saw the state police or whatever arrest that lady for knocking on the governor's door. Right? We just saw that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? We don't care about the All-Star. Move the All-Star game.
Yeah.
In fact, move the Braves.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that kind of thing that you need to have happen.
Yeah. Something bigger has to happen.
Yeah.
All right. So fortunately for Legion of Fan, you came back, and I was just kind of rolling my way around slowly but surely to the issue of solidarity.
Okay.
Because just to frame it for you, I had heard a podcast, and I thought maybe it was the Ringer podcast from the Monday, Tuesday drop, but I'm not sure. So I don't want to. But I think they had said that 2020 was all words and now there's some action. And they were thrilled about that. And I was getting into my car. I have a really clear memory of this and thinking, what do you mean it was all words? Words count. And I think that 2020, like the more I think about it, I think that what happened in baseball in 2020 that made me love baseball in a way I never had before. And kind of getting back to this from the top of the show where we were talking about, moral issues that happen within teams or with players or what have you. But on a broad scope, I had often felt that I was having to sort of have a narrow view of baseball because if I really expanded my vision, I'd have to start holding my nose. And it might start getting hard for me to stick with this game because it is so conservative and it is so and all the Christian stuff, very worrying. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Okay. And last year we saw guys and this is where I want to say that this counts. They were saying it doesn't. I think it counts that black ribbons were laid across, first and third baselines. I think it counts that guys lifted those ribbons together. And I think more than anything, it counts that guys stood locked arms and they were white and black. I think, and I've always thought this, so tell me if I'm wrong, please. I want to have this conversation. I've always thought that because black people are a minority in this country, until white people really sit up and they say, look, we're not putting up with racism, we're going to have a very racist society. It's just
largely it's a situation in which black people cannot un-racist white people. Right? like we can't do it. Like we can point it out to you, right? Because we're experts at knowing what it feels like.
Yeah.
Right? We can point it out to you, but you kind of have to like stop doing it.
Yeah.
Right? You have to quit doing the thing.
Yeah.
And so I would want like every time this is like the part of the problem with combating racism in general is the public doesn't like being made to feel uncomfortable.
True.
Right? So you have to make the public uncomfortable. You got to make them uncomfortable and make them face it. Right. And when we did the thing with the black ribbons and the players locking arm in arm and all that kind of shit, the great gestures, the trouble with it is it happens that one time, right? The next George Floyd right? Baseball's not going to go through that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what you're trying to do is have there be no more George Floyds.
Right.
Right. But we're saying the next George Floyd because nothing was done to actually prevent there being another George Floyd. We just haven't had one.
Yeah.
We've come very close.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and Jacob Blake, which is pretty horrible.
Well, I'm separating the two of those things.
Yeah.
Right. I'm separating the two of those things because the Jacob Blake situation is actually kind of the more common one, which is the cops are scared, so they just start shooting, right?
Yeah.
Whereas George Floyd was a guy involved a police officer very calmly murdering a person before your eyes over the course of 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
He didn't panic.
They both are horrible situations of police brutality, but I separate the kind of violence you're seeing because one of those situations made white people far more uncomfortable.
Okay.
You know, like that thing, the next thing after the uncomfortability is you have to hold elected officials accountable. You have to hold your neighbors accountable.
Yeah.
You have to do both of these things. It can't just be, we need to get a president we like and a governor we like and state representatives we like. It can't just be that, right? Because the politics are the most important of the ones that are local.
Yeah.
Right? And they literally start with your neighbor.
That's right.
You know, your neighbor's behavior is the thing you need to call out when you see the bullshit. You can't wait on your star third baseman to speak up.
Yeah.
Right? On your team that has no black players.
Right.
You know, when Jason Hayward last year was saying that his team supported him, they supported his decision to not play, but he wanted the team to play. I was thinking, that's kind of fucking weird right there. Right?
Yeah. I would want.
I'm okay that he wanted the team to play. I'm not okay that the team was like, okay, Jason's cool with it, let's go play.
Yeah.
Not only should they have not played, right? It is no one should have played anywhere until cops are fired.
Yeah.
Right? No one should play anywhere until change is happening. We're not playing baseball, right? You know, like big things. That's gonna be big things. We're not doing this thing until that thing is dealt with.
Yeah.
Because these guys have been telling you about this for too damn long, right?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, Jacob Blake could be Jason Hayward, right?
Yes.
George Floyd could be Dexter Fowler.
Oh yeah, easy.
You know, we've had players in other sports who are black get attacked by the police when the police didn't realize they were famous people.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, sorry, oh, you're famous, so that's different."
Now everything changes, right? And to me, when you're talking about a systemic change that has to happen, it's got to be white folks have to face your racist history, face it, accept it, and then make your changes. Because if you don't do the truth part, you can't do the reconciliation part.
Right.
You know, ethically, you can't if you can't straight own it. If you can't say in the southern states that have baseball that there's vehicles that come in with the stars and bars and if you can't say that we've kind of accepted this culture of they're going to say rebellion and heritage, we're going to say racism and terror, right? If you've coddled that culture all this time, it's going to be very hard for you to one day make the gesture that we're all standing in solidarity, and maybe it doesn't happen again, right? You need to straight up call it out, own it, say you've coddled it, right? And then make some changes. Yeah. Right? Because otherwise, what's the point? You're gonna get players not trusting you, young players don't trust you, the fan base doesn't trust you, right? When it happens again, when I see teams declare we got rules about the kneeling now. Why do you have rules about the kneeling now? Yeah. Why should you need a rule about kneeling? I know. Really? You got kneeling rules, huh? Yeah. Same when you got rules about not giving people bottles of water while they're standing around. Yeah, so hold on a second. You know why they're kneeling, right? So we know why they're kneeling. And literally people getting arrested for giving folks bottles of water is part of the kneeling. Yeah. I think you ought to, hell no, you ought to say this is why they're kneeling. During the broadcast, you ought to be let me show you why they're kneeling. Oh yeah, assholes! Then you're now you're being part of the solution. Now you're putting appropriate pressure. But I think it starts with us and our neighbors. You gotta you hear guys, not you specifically, but we hear the dumb shit. We see it. Call it out. So you change it, you know, and you got to embarrass people doing the right thing sometimes.
I am dealing with a situation at work. Although I've almost like just said, you know, I've done all I can, you know, I mean, just some people are just blockheads. They're just impenetrable. And they're having all the senior leadership is reading how to be anti-racist and having like kind of book club stuff around it.
Yeah.
Middle managers like I am are not invited to this conversation, right? Only like senior level. But it's, yeah, the effects trickle down. And so I have a colleague here in the community college system who's a white male, and he's very upset at any intimation that he might be racist or that he might need to change anything because he feels oppressed. And I had this like back and forth with him and back and forth, just trying to get him to see that, you know what, it's not about you personally. You personally can do things about this. But when we talk about a racist society, we're not going, you dude, you're racist, you know? Of course you are.
Because at this moment, that dude just became the racist, right? Yeah. He feels oppressed. Nope. Yeah, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. He does. And he told me at one point that he was so lucky. I'm not even sure I understand why he said this, but he said he felt so lucky that he had a boss once who let him wear shorts to class to teach. And I'm like, okay, really? Like that's your bottom line for being authentically present without any kind of check on you or any kind of restraints on you, is that you get to wear shorts to class? And, you know, at that point, I just told him, look, you know what, when you go out in the world and you walk around, the world is going to reflect back to you who you are. You're not even making that decision. You know, I mean, you think about women.
This is like the platonic ideal of having the confidence of a mediocre white man.
Yeah.
Like this is really what that is. That man was like, I got to wear shorts to teach one day. Yeah. Let me tell you how hard it's been in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone finally recognized.
Somebody let me express a privilege. It's like, okay, come on. You know, and I just told him, look, you know, yeah, the world is going to reflect your expectations back at you. And that is why white men never know that there's a problem, is because the world tells them, hey, you're awesome. Hey, you're awesome. Hey, you're awesome. You expect to be told you're awesome, and you're told you're awesome. You know, I'm not even going to, I don't know.
All day long.
I don't know what it's like for you, Terry, but I go out in the world and it's like, you know, okay, you know, you have freedom of movement to a point, but watch out when the sun goes down. Watch out when you're alone in a room with somebody. Watch out that you don't.
There's a lot of time spent consciously and subconsciously getting through interactions with that didn't have to become an argument. That didn't have to become an argument. Woo, that didn't have to become a confrontation. Woo, that I got out of that one easy enough. Like you stop counting it after a while because everything is like a charged situation where you haven't done anything. You're just moving through your day, but you're seeing the points of contact where someone else that you're dealing with can move one step to the right, and now it's a charged issue, right?
Yeah.
And you start going, man, I'm so damn glad. Like, and the problem that we have really as a Black dude, let me tell you, it is difficult sometimes to know when the situation you're going through is one where your race is involved, unless someone you know who is not Black is going through the exact same issue at the same time you are while you're present. And this just happened to me with my wife and a certain situation where the person I was dealing with and the person she was dealing with were in the same system to do a thing, and we're doing it minutes apart, and I am having an entirely different experience surrounding this particular issue, right? And during it, I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, and I realized later on, I know what's happening here. There's information that this person can see where they know I'm the Black person, and I'm having the Black, it's a medical thing, right? So I'm having, like you may have heard Black people say, like, our experience with the medical profession is different than yours. Yes, right? Exactly. Yeah. And it's different. And there's algorithms for it, damn near, you know what I mean? And like, I was living that experience again. And I was like, I know what happened. The person I'm dealing with who is making this difficult doesn't realize she's making it difficult, but she can see that I'm the Black person here, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't know that my wife is also dealing with this system, but just from a different location. And my wife keeps calling me and she's like, oh man, that was so easy. Got it done. Yeah, we're in, right? And I'm like, no, I'm being told it's literally impossible for us to do this. We can't do the thing, right? Whatever the thing, you know, like I'll, off of recording, I'll explain the whole thing, right? Because I don't want to throw these dudes. I want to throw them under the bus, but I'm not going to throw them under the bus because a lot of my friends are lawyers. So like.
It's really helpful to know so many lawyers, isn't it?
I know a lot of lawyers.
and
so like, so I'm not saying exactly what it was, but it was like, holy hell, right? So I had to go back into the system again to be like, okay, look, let's establish some ground rules here. This is what I know to be true about this situation, right? Can you now approach it from the standpoint of, I know everything that I need to know. I know things that you're not telling me. Can we now approach it from that thing to get this thing done? And the person on the other end of the phone, who somehow I kept getting the same damn person, said, oh, okay.
So it makes you wonder how many times this person has this conversation and never catches.
Which I said, I asked that question. I said, how many times? Why has this been like this? Like, am I the only one? Like, has this been this way? And they said to me, well, we thought that mostly people wanted it the way you've been dealing with it. And I was like, what the fuck? But it got worked out. But it took me like 10 times as much effort to do this as it took my wife.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, what the hell? My wife got other people's numbers involved, and she was like, oh, just call this person directly. They'll take care of it. I tried that. It didn't work. Like, it's a mess.
Oh, I'm glad you can laugh.
Well, because like, I mean, like there's the things that are overt racism in which you don't laugh unless you have to, right? But there's the things that are like not overt racism. It's the system. Yeah. Right? The system is written a certain kind of way. It's working. This is not a bug, it's a feature. Yeah. You know? So you laugh because like you get it resolved, but shit, man, you just get used to dealing with like, this is how much work we all have to go through to navigate in this world. When mediocre white guys aren't going to have to do that, right? In fact, mediocre white guys most of the time are in situations in which the first call they make is the okay call.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're not having to sweat the shit that we're sweating. Yeah. To do, they've got the resources already. Right. To just make the one call. Right. You know. Right. When we were dealing with vaccines, right? Like the concept of people driving in from the suburbs to go into the city to get vaccinated at such a high rate that cities are having to be like, we got to lock it down to just people living in this zip code, right? When the Black people living in the city never think to drive 2 hours to all white small towns. Yeah. To find vaccination appointment. Like that wasn't a thing they were doing. And it wasn't the distance, right? It wasn't the town specifically. It was that we don't have a freedom of movement mentally. Yeah. Right? That says, well, fuck that. What's the whitest suburb we got? Yeah. I'm just gonna go there. Yeah. Right? Because every time you've gone there, your experience has been off. Right. Right? So now for sure, it's going to be difficult. Whereas people from there will come in here, get this life-saving vaccine or like, you know, life-altering vaccine and not think twice about it. They're leaving and never coming back. Right. They didn't stay and spend any money. They didn't stay in healthcare economic situation. They didn't stay and do any lasting change. They didn't look and notice a property that could be bought, that could be renovated, that could be invested in. They didn't do any of the things that to combat systematic racism you would need to be doing. Right? They didn't do that. But when you go, you get in your like if you were a black person, you go drive to the nice area to go see a movie.
I would not.
What do you do? When you go to the nice area to go see a movie?
I would not.
Dinner, like you know what I mean? Like this is what people do. You know what I mean? Like this is what people do. The number of times.
I already have this really profound sense of how vulnerable my body is to other people's violence. I am very aware of that, right? Mm-hmm. There are a lot of places that I just don't go, or times of day, or, you know, certain activities I would never involve myself in for any reason. And I mean, I just have a sense that
because you're willing to do cha-cha, but you're not willing to take up MMA.
Well, you know, I might take up MMA, but I would have to be in a gym that really favored women, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's what I mean. I would know. I would not walk into a place where the majority are men. Now, I'm unfortunately old enough now that there's less likely of me being sexually assaulted. Less likely, I would say it's over. But but then you just get disregarded. You just might as well be invisible. You know, it's and that's not.
I said to my wife one day that I kind of sort of, she was worried about me going someplace, something like, you know, you ever think about like, you know, stuff that goes on out on the streets, like mistaken identity. And I was like, in a way, I kind of aged out of some of that.
Yeah,
it's not 100%. Nice. It's not 100%.
The bad news is you get into the ageism, right? Like when I fell and just like completely fucked up my right knee and decided I'd better go make sure there was no structural damage. And so I got an appointment. You know, you have to see the primary care person first, and then they refer you, and then I get referred, and I go to the osteo person, like, you know, the bone joint person. And she sits down and she said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, I fell and I hurt my knee." And like the thing is purple and blue from like down to my shin and up to my thigh. I mean, purple and blue and swollen. I said, "Hurt my knee." And she said, "Well, you're old."
Holy shit. Yeah. All right.
And then
welcome ageism.
I said, "Could you just check it for structural damage?" And she said, "Oh, if you want me to."
Yeah. I am aware that I am an old. However, I fell and require medical attention anyway.
Yeah. You know, I can still, like, I'm even more likely to break a joint. So why don't you take a look? You know, but anyway, I made that about me again. If I were Black, I would be very careful about where I went. And part of it would be to preserve my personal safety, or part of it would just be like, look, I know there's no point. I know there is no point. I'm not going to be welcome. I'm not going to be comfortable. I'm not going to get what I went there to get. I'm not going to be able to get what I need. I'll just have to come home. Why would I do that?
We do this calculus as Black people all the damn time.
Yeah.
All the time. And it gets tiring.
Yeah, right.
All right. We've done baseball, and we've given the blueprint for how to solve the racism.
Well, we made it a start. I want to bring them two together into a, because I really got to go. It's terrible. I love talking to you. I want to bring them together into a meeting point, and I want to go back to those guys lifting the black ribbon and standing around arm in arm, because I think that was, to my mind, at least within the little baseball world, it was incredibly significant. And the reason is that what we're talking about, which is that white people have to say, you know what, I have white skin. It's not fair. The world's not fair. It's given me so many advantages, and I have to step up and understand that it's not because I deserved it or I worked hard and my family worked hard or blah blah blah. That's not it. I'm white. It makes my life easier, and I got to do something about that. I got to fix that.
You know, in a strange way, I think that maybe one thing that I would like to see Major League Baseball do is start going into the inner city and opening up like baseball training centers. Not so that, part of it is so that more Black people get to play baseball, absolutely. But what I really want is I want more options for people who might not be Black to not have to become cops.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Do you know what I mean? Like the Colorado Rockies, the Chicago White Sox, the St. Louis Cardinals, the New York Yankees and Mets, like the Atlanta Braves, wherever, like the Detroit Tigers, like to just be like, you know, this black ribbon thing is cool, but fuck it. Let's take $50 million, go into the city, pick out an area, and just make like straight up training centers where after school kids can come here and like have a place to be. The goal is it's definitely all baseball skills focused, but it's also activity focused, right? But it is not just so that we're trying to make sure that these kids learn to throw a curveball someday. there ought to be, because there's a thing about the type of people who end up becoming security guards and cops, right? I referred to this yesterday as like sometimes the police are like a solution looking for a problem to happen to.
They are.
Right? You know, and like you need something like for them so that doesn't have like an option for those guys to learn skills that maybe they don't have to become cops at some point.
Right. That's why you have to have these camps that you're talking about, not only in the inner city, but places where there've been a lot of factories closing down. Because it means that, you know, it was in Michael Moore's first documentary, Roger and Me, where he went around Flint, Michigan, and these factories closed down. And so people either become prison guards or prisoners. They're all the same people who use
same damn people. They all know each other.
Yeah, they all know each other, exactly. And it's like you
like even if you're not gonna be like you're not gonna be a shortstop or a second baseman or a center fielder, you could learn management skills in a place like that. Like there's things that you can learn to do with money from professional sports organizations with direct investment in communities. Where like we're not necessarily even trying to get you into the system that way. But we're going to use this money for all. Effectively, you're basically creating a university structure.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's for the benefit of these communities.
Yeah. Show them all these different things you can do. You can do accounting. You can do communications. You can do speech writing.
Because the sport of baseball isn't just guys hitting balls and throwing balls.
Right. Oh, it's a huge apparatus. There's tons of different careers involved. Yeah. And you've got all the different sports teams that could do this, and you know,
and these skills are useful to other sports.
Yeah, exactly. So you say, "Dear LeBron James, now that you," or "Dear Players Alliance," because you know, I
got an idea.
Driving around handing stuff out, but you know, you got to plant stuff. You got to plant. Stuff, and you got to water it, and you got to feed it, and you got to fertilize it. And you got to bring the people in. You got to make sure it grows, and you got to stay in there. You got to stay in there. So back to those black ribbons. There is a point where white people have to say, I am a part of this. There is a point where that has to happen. And that was what to me was so different last.
Because it just can't be us doing it.
Yeah. And so last season, 2020, was the season that I saw guys like Cody Bellinger and Max Muncy stand there with Mookie Betts and say, we are in this with you. And it was symbolic, but it said, at least to me, that finally there is a spreading acknowledgement that this problem doesn't end until white people sit up and end it.
Yeah.
And that's a start. I think that's an important start. And I almost wish that Manfred had moved the All-Star game so that all these white players could have boycotted. I kind of wanted to see that happen. I wanted to see like half the white players on
but like, you know, it's that thing that happens where like if the major league like starters boycott, they just pick other players who are damn happy to be there. Like they just move down the line.
Yeah. That's true, but also then everybody knows that you're not really the all-star. You know, you go back to your team and you're like, yeah, you were only there because that guy didn't show up and that guy had principles. So what about you? You know, I would love this because it's going to take time. It's not going to happen today or tomorrow. I mean, it would happen today or tomorrow if Coca-Cola could say, hey, let's move.
Yes.
Let's move. But, you know, so I thought it was very important to see white players step up. You know, oddly enough, because I like to think I'm all.
One thing I just looked up is in a way that like players, like white players standing with black players and they're doing it with them. What I wanted to know was, where's Cody Bellinger from?
Oh yeah.
He's from Scottsdale, Arizona, which is one of the whitest places on the planet. And the reason I looked this up is because when I talk about politics being local, right? Like it is, if you're Cody Bellinger, you're going to stand with Mookie Betts, you have to make sure that Scottsdale, Arizona is less racist tomorrow than it was today, right? Because LA is LA, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the dugout with Mookie Betts, who's a beloved figure amongst black baseball players and baseball players in general. But what you really got to do is make sure that your town, right, has a change. You know? Yeah. That's the thing I think that guys kind of want to see.
Where is Mookie Betts from?
I actually looked this up once.
He's from Georgia, isn't he?
I think he is. He's definitely from someplace. I share a birthday with Max Muncy.
Hey, congratulations.
And Max Muncy is from Midland, Texas. He went to Baylor. He went to high school in Keller, Texas. Yeah, you got to go to Texas, Max Muncy, and make Midland, Texas less racist than it was yesterday, right?
You
like
do
that's
have
the
to do
work.
that. But now don't also like Cody Bellinger and Max Muncy need to go to the towns where like Mookie Betts and Akil Badu are from and say, we're doing this. We're doing this. No?
Mookie Betts is from Nashville.
Nashville. Wow.
Yeah, he's
really?
Tennessee. He's Nashville, Tennessee. The reason I say no is because that's literally already the move that gets done.
Oh,
right?
I see.
We pick the white players, get in the truck, and they take the turkeys to where the black people live. They hand out the turkeys at Thanksgiving. They hand out the gloves. They hand out the bats and balls. And the cameras can't wait to show up for that shit.
Yeah.
Right. The cameras show up, and it's like, oh wow, look at that, man. They've gone to the black people, and now they're less racist to those black people.
So
when really the players weren't the problem.
It's already been done. We already know it's meaningless.
Yeah. What we need is to me, what I feel like the best way to make these changes, if you're an athlete, is you go home and make that change in the places where everybody already looked like you.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody already, like, you came up with it. You might say that you're not racist, but you know exactly who were, right? You made it to this point where now you're playing in a sport with 15% blacks in it, but we're still suffering the problems, right? So like, you got to go home and make that change.
Yeah.
Because you need those guys, the people in Midland, Texas, or Scottsdale, Arizona. When they vote, they're voting with their wallets too.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Their politicians who are being supported by these people think they think a certain kind of way, and they like the way these people think.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So if you're Cody Bellinger or Max Muncy, I don't know. There is just something about being a sports superstar that can't be replicated by anybody else. You know, maybe guys like Kid Rock, you know, or trying to think of one of those country superstars as well. I mean, where they just have
your example of Kid Rock is actually it's a good one in a way, but I don't know if you realize how good it is, because Kid Rock tries to be he wants to be the blue collar representative country superstar dude. Except Kid Rock is actually the privileged born son of a rich person, right? Who put on this costume of blue collar working guy, right? To make money on these other dudes. Like he put on these guys gave him money. So he did the whole racism as a business thing, right? He leaned into that because it paid him, right? So you kind of need him to do a mea culpa, right? Like, shit.
Absolutely, guys. Because he has the status in people's minds and the money to keep himself strong. And
the trouble is he's actually not relevant, right? So like his lack, he's worked his way into irrelevance. So by the time he comes back around to being a fan of hip hop and like wanting to go on to the other side of Detroit, you know, when he wants the ability to be able to do that freely again, people won't really.
Okay, so who's relevant? Because I don't know anybody outside of baseball.
your whole entertainment world is baseball.
Yeah, that's basically it.
I feel like whoever it is, whoever they are, right? It's the work still. I just go back to the work has to be done at home.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's where that's literally the places. You become famous, you move to the big cities, right? You move to the nicest parts of town, right? You leave Nashville, Tennessee, I'm assuming, if you're Mookie Betts, and you want to live in what's the nicest part of LA you can live in. I'm guessing. I don't really know. Maybe Malibu, right? Like you move to Malibu because now you can afford to move to Malibu, right?
Yeah.
Well, some of these places can also afford to be blue. Right? Because now the kind of shit that, like, man, you got money now, man. Everybody's feeling kind of good. You'll throw your hat in the ring for some good causes now.
Yeah.
You know, like what's really the trick here is the folks who think that the blacks are going to come over the hill and steal their farm tomorrow. That's where you got to make a change in thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like you got to go back and work on those people.
Yeah.
You know, because they'll cheer you if you're famous. They don't mind that, but then they'll call the cops when I drive through their town.
Right.
Right? They'll put the state police will have to be alerted that we've been seen driving through this part of Wisconsin where very few black people ever are. Right. And then we get pulled over and get a ticket for not having a light above our license plate.
That is why I wouldn't go places if I were black. I would just be like, think about it. Where are the black people? I will go there.
my list over the years is becoming shorter and shorter and shorter.
I don't doubt it.
In conversations about time travel, I have said that it is amazing that white people want to go back to Victorian eras, and they want to go back to, like, you know, days of just where they could just chop wood like the Amish do and all this kind of shit. I'm like, black people probably don't want to go back any further than 1981.
I want to go into the future. I've always preferred.
If you're going backwards,
yeah.
right? Black people, you're not going further back to 1981. That's where you're going.
I'm blown away by the women who tell me they want to go back to Victorian times when everything was so, I don't know, docile or chaste or whatever.
You can buy petticoats now, right? If you just want to wear petticoats, you can buy petticoats and wear them now. You don't need to go.
You couldn't own property, right? Like, you could not own property.
You couldn't have an opinion.
Right? You know, you're like legally dependent on a man to even eat. You know that, right?
Yeah. They just want to look good. You know?
Well, okay, so we've established some things with a capital E and capital S and capital T. Established some things.
Yes.
And we know we're going to keep this going. So this is fantastic. And I better go because I have another meeting in 8 minutes.
Yep.
And as always, so cool to talk with you. I don't know if you're interested in being very amused, you can tune into the part of this where I talk.
Legion of Fan, we did have technical difficulties. I thought Beth froze, and that the problem was on Beth's end, actually, because I was sitting here going, Beth, you're frozen. And then I didn't realize that I lost my internet until I looked down at part of my computer and saw it. There was like this little yellow triangle. And I'm like, hell. And then it didn't even occur to me that we were still recording, because the next thing I know, Zoom closed. And I was like, well, shit, if Zoom closed, I could see that the internet was trying to come back. So I was like, well, let's see if it looks like it's coming back. And then it was clear, nope, it's not coming back. I got to do a thing. So I had to do a thing. I had to go and reboot some stuff and got it all back. And somehow even got my video back. Yeah, and all of that, like, when I came back, you were like, yeah, I was just talking because you texted me. Yeah. Beth is going on the ethics thing. Okay, all right. Well.
I even told Legion of Fan. I showed him my phone and I said I'm pushing the dictation, and I did. That's all part of the recording. I'm like, no dead air. That was my only thought, was no dead air.
Nothing stops Drop Third Strike.
Yeah. So
we are more resilient than Aaron Judge. That's for sure.
Yeah,
we didn't go down with an injury
again. Yeah, well, that was only a matter of time, but at least oh my goodness, what a loss to baseball that Nando went down. What a loss.
Yeah
What a loss. I'm just disappointed in all the fun that we're not going to have.
But how long is he out for?
Oh, possibly he won't be back till next season. It's all going to be a matter of when they decide to do surgery.
What's the injury?
He's partially dislocated his shoulder.
Oh, okay. Because the original report that I saw didn't say that. I saw him leave a game.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize dislocated shoulder.
It's partially dislocated, and apparently he's prone to this. It's the way that he's built, and because he didn't stop his swing, he let it go all the way back.
Yes.
All the way back. It just pulled his shoulder partially out of the socket.
Yeah.
Which is why it hurt a lot. And so he is going to need some kind of surgery at some point. He can't play 10 years like that.
Correct.
He can't play 6 weeks like that. So they're doing rest and rehab right now, because I know they want to try to. But I mean, limping through the season for what?
A lot of times the thing is also, we can't do surgery until the swelling goes down, right? Until the damage you've done right now resolves itself. Yeah. We can't go cutting in there. Yeah. So. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so they're hanging on and waiting to see about that, but it's the price for being so limber and so strong. Yeah. He's got to train a different swing, or it's just going to keep happening. So it's a shame. He's lovely.
Bunt more, Nando. Bunt more.
Lots of bunting. Yeah.
Bunt and run.
But get on base, Manny Machado. What? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Jake Cronenworth. Come on. These guys can hit. Get on base.
Those two are also on my fantasy team.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Like Cronenworth and Machado.
All right, so we'll wrap it. We'll wrap it just by saying that that Legion of Fan, you are brilliant for hanging in there with us. I promise that sometime in the next 10 years, I will learn how to cut these things down into 2 pieces. But in the meantime, thank you for tuning in to another episode. I think 21 or 22.
I think we're 21, 20. Yeah.
Established of Dropped Third Strike, Society, Culture, Baseball. We can do it, people. Turn into the love.
Turn into the love.
See you next
All right.
time, Terry.
See you, Beth.
Okay, bye.